Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're wrestling with a stack of sources that takes us all over the map. We're going from the edge of human discipline to ancient history.
And right into how modern narratives get built. It's a wild collection.
It is.
Yeah.
So for you, the listener, our mission is to, pull out the real blueprints, the surprising facts that cut through the noise.
Exactly. We want you to walk away with some high-impact insights, understanding what it takes to have that hyper-focus, but also what hidden structures are kind of shaping the world you see.
Okay, so let's jump in. First up, this powerful blueprint for personal transformation. The sources lay out this really profound fitness journey. Someone dropping from 265 pounds down to a 187, that's a 78-pound change.
A huge transformation, and the physical benefits are immediate. The relief on your joints, the energy.
It's an undeniable success story, but how did it happen?
Well, what's so crucial here is that it wasn't just, going on a diet. It was about building a structure, an accountability structure.
Yeah.
So the foundation is a tough training schedule, lifting 4 days a week. And the data here is clear. For a change this big, the trainer is non-negotiable.
So you can't just do it yourself.
You think you can, but that external pressure, it pushes you past what you think your limits are. It just ensures the workout is harder and, frankly, better. You're basically outsourcing your discipline.
And the nutrition side is, well, it's meticulous. The sources say the old way was just kind of random. This new strategy is all about protein and timing.
Laser focused.
Eating 4 times a day, with a commitment to 50 grams of protein at each meal. That's 200 grams a day. That sounds like a ton of protein.
It is, but it's necessary if your goal is body recomposition, not just weight loss. That 50-gram number, it's biologically significant. It maximizes muscle protein synthesis.
So you're building muscle while losing fat.
You're preserving lean mass while in a caloric deficit. Studies show that hitting that number 4 times a day, it turns your body into a fat-burning machine that holds onto its muscle.
And it's not a rigid, static diet either.
Yeah.
There's this idea of carb cycling, which sounds pretty sophisticated.
It's a fuel management system. That's the best way to think about it.
Okay, explain that.
So on days, you have a really intense workout, like a heavy leg day. You get your full portion of carbs, sweet potatoes, white rice, things like that.
Fuel for the fire.
Exactly. But on rest days, or maybe lighter workout days, you dial those carbs way back. You're optimizing fuel for performance, not just eating for the sake of it. It minimizes fat storage.
Now, here's where I think the mental part really comes in. The morning routine.
Oh, for sure.
To make all this happen, the subject had to shift their wake-up time to 5:30 in the morning, which of course means you're in bed by 10 or 10:30. That seems to be the linchpin.
It is. The research is pretty clear on this. When you work out first thing in the morning, it's like the first big win of the day.
A domino effect.
A total habit domino. You've done something hard, something valuable, before the world has a chance to throw anything at you. And the sources mention cardio specifically, how it just silences that internal chatter.
So by the time you actually start your workday, you're already calm, you're focused.
You've already won the first and hardest battle, yeah.
It makes me think about aging and metrics. 20 years just flies by. You start thinking about things like VO2 max and bone density.
Exactly. And VO2 max, for anyone who doesn't know, is basically a measure of your engine's capacity, how much oxygen your body can use.
And it's a huge predictor of longevity.
One of the strongest. So you shift from just wanting to look good to wanting your engine to actually run well for a long, long time. But that discipline, it's such a stark contrast to our next topic.
The world of extreme competition.
Where longevity is often the first thing to go.
Right. So the sources throw out this challenge that everyone should try a combat sport at least once. BJJ, boxing, something.
It's about self-awareness. It's the ultimate crucible for learning very viscerally how much I don't know.
Humility.
Total humility.
Yeah.
The second you understand that action is always faster than reaction, I mean, that's why a sucker punch works. You just see the world differently. You understand your own vulnerability.
Speaking of which, there was this fascinating breakdown of the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight. And Paul gets a lot of credit for his skill and his drive. This is a guy who doesn't need to do this, but he's hyper-competitive. He landed a big right hand on Joshua.
He did, but the analysis was also really clear on his main flaw, his cardio. He just gets tired in the later rounds. We saw it in the Nate Diaz fight, too.
But at that level, the price of a mistake is huge. Joshua's punch that broke Paul's jaw in 2 places. The source just called it a bomb.
That's the cost of entry. And it leads to this bigger, more philosophical question, right? When does that discipline become a dangerous obsession?
The core tension.
Yeah. And the sources give a pretty stark warning about the long-term price for professional fighters. We're talking severe brain imbalance, depression, addiction to gambling, drugs, alcohol.
So you have to know when to get out.
You have to know when to dip out, as they put it, before the damage is just irreversible.
But then you see someone like Gordon Ryan. He's the opposite model. He's pure obsession, training 365 days a year, no days off.
And that takes a very specific psychology and often just freakish genetics. Look at Alex Pereira. He had a 190 on that punch machine.
And just for context, Francis Ngannou, who's seen as the hardest puncher ever, hit a 129.
The difference is massive. The sound of Pereira hitting that thing was described as ungodly, and the sources connect that raw power directly to his Amazonian ancestry.
So it's not just training, it's biology. Destiny, almost.
Sometimes it's just in your DNA, and that link to the Amazon, that's a perfect setup for our next section, unveiling a hidden history.
Right, let's go there.
Yeah.
LiDAR scanning is completely rewriting what we thought we knew about the Amazon.
It's astonishing. I mean, for decades, we saw the Amazon as this pristine, untouched wilderness.
The natural world.
And now, thanks to LiDAR, which is basically a laser that maps the ground from the air, we know the jungle's density is largely man-made. It's an overgrown garden.
So those were agricultural plants originally.
Complex, deliberate agriculture. And the LiDAR sliced right through the trees and found what was underneath. We're talking about massive, complex structures. Aqueducts, roads, symmetrical buildings.
So millions of people live there.
Millions in organized, sophisticated societies. And they were just wiped out by diseases from early European contact. It basically proves that the old stories of a lost city of Z weren't myths after all.
Our whole historical understanding was just wrong.
Completely shallow, and the mystery goes deeper, literally into the soil. These huge areas are covered in terra preta.
This black, man-made soil.
It's this super rich engineered soil, full of compost and carbon like a biochar. And the craziest part is, the sources are clear. We still have no idea how they made it. It's a lost ancient technology, regenerative agriculture on a scale we can't even replicate today.
It's a profound historical shock. And if that's not enough, we have to talk about the tridactyl mummies from Peru.
Okay, this is where it gets truly bizarre.
It's a genuine scientific outlier. They're about 1,200 years old, 3 feet tall.
And they have 3 fingers and 3 toes. Their heads are large, their eyes are large, and their whole skeletal structure is just different. The scapula, the lines on the skull, it's not human.
And one was pregnant, which confirms they were real biological beings, not a hoax.
Exactly, reproductive. And then, to make it even stranger, they found these metallic golden implants inside them.
Not jewelry.
No, embedded in their structure. One was implanted right into the skull on the forehead. I mean, this suggests a technology or a biology that just completely challenges our timeline of history.
A find like that should be on the front page of every newspaper in the world. It should be.
But it's not. It's relegating to the corners of the internet, which leads us perfectly into our final theme. The construction of reality, how information gets controlled.
And that's the key, right? Why are these historical shocks sidelined? It brings us to a great historical example, Alfred Nobel.
The inventor of dynamite.
Right. An obituary for him was mistakenly published while he was still alive, and it called him the Merchant of Death.
So he got to read how history was going to remember him.
And he hated it. So he immediately created the Nobel Prize to completely change his legacy. It was a brilliant marketing move. It shows that legacy and narrative can be managed, bought even.
And if a personal legacy can be managed, so can public information. We see it with the slow release of the Epstein files.
A classic mechanism. Instead of one big bombshell, you let it bleed out over years. It reduces the impact. It just suggests that someone or something is being protected.
Even when you have figures like Bill Clinton's spokesperson calling for everything to be released immediately, photos and all. The slow pace just creates more suspicion, and then you get these cryptic warnings from people involved.
Like Bill Gates' comment about Epstein. He was asked about their association, and he just said, he's dead now, so you have to be careful.
Chilling. I mean, careful of what or who? The ambiguity is the point. It just fuels this deep uncertainty.
And all of this is amplified by modern digital manipulation. The average person would spend 6 hours a day looking at content that's often just nutrient-free.
Or worse, interacting with bots, falling for scams. We heard that crazy example of someone sending $80,000 to a person they thought was Brad Pitt.
It's absurd, but it shows how detached from reality you can get when there's an entire business model built on controlling what goes viral. Narrative control is the main product of the internet.
So let's try to tie this all together. We went from the power of extreme discipline managing your macros, winning the morning, all the way to its dark side, right?
The obsession and the physical limits.
Then we had the historical shock of these lost Amazonian cities and the truly bizarre three-toed mummies in Peru.
I think the through line here, for you listening, is about building a framework, a structure for yourself, but also a healthy skepticism for the world. It lets you show up focused, whether it's for the gym or just for reading the news.
But here's a final thought to leave you with. The fact that these incredible reality-altering discoveries, the 1,200-year-old mummies with implants, the LiDAR showing the Amazon was a man-made garden, the fact that those aren't consistently front-page news should be a constant alarm bell.
Right.
If we know that entire corporations exist just to create distractions and manage narratives, then you have to constantly ask what crucial information is being intentionally ignored and what trivial, sensational stuff is being intentionally amplified. Knowledge today requires active, relentless vigilance.